Hello and welcome to day 151 of 365 days towards racial change. My name is Thomas Nydak. We're here talking about black issues in America, stereotypes, politics, education, economics, all of the above. Personal stories, some satire, some sad. Two big major thoughts emerge as I continue the project. First thought has two parts. First part, well, the whole part, first thoughts, is about the mind of America. And the first part has to do with the black mind. Does it still live as a slave mind in America? Does it still uh, exercising and living vulnerability? Some of the stereotypes that we blacks live under. Does that come from slavery? Was the experience so traumatic to and so traumatic and influential as to create a whole society of people, a whole community based on their skin color? It was, we had a obvious connection because of skin color, but then were further attitudes um, imputed to us through conditioning and whatnot. Conversely, other side of the same coin, the second idea about the mind of America is the white mind of privilege, power, security, all ability to move and maneuver. You know, our black people fettered and encumbered, whereas white people, in this white society, in this constitutionally white environment created by whites, with their um, European laws and standards, by maintaining that, does it privilege them and disadvantage other groups, especially black folks? Second issue is for financial literacy. Are black people aware of how their dollars are spent? Are black people aware of why their money just does not go as far as they want it to or thought it would, or how it does, or and whatnot? There's got to be there's got to be a better way. So how does that translate? You know, we our disposable dollars, we go out and work, and our energy is all used up, our time uh, in ways um, that we just need to understand. We need to get with so that we can launch some effective defense to make some change if we want to. You know, great many of black people are just nice and passive, just okay with having a roof over their head, and they're okay with their spending habits and whatnot. I want more out of life. There's got to be a better way. Um, I'm not. I'm personally not spending my life and my time living any kind of American dream. I know that. you know, and what is the American dream, right? It's defined under white culture and all that. I reach for that, and I've got all kinds of white hands scratching at me and clawing at me, pulling me back and down, and in my wallet, in my pocket, in my mind, and all that. I just would not be living this way, spending all my time and energy into my later years, past midlife, trying to get this mysterious American dream, you know. I'm inspired by a man named Dr. Claude Anderson. He's written a bunch of stuff. He's all over YouTube. I've read 3 of his works. Um, First work I read was a Black History Reader. We reference all these um, books through the year. 101 Questions You Never Thought to Ask. If you just get one of his books, get this one and get it first. That's gonna, I believe it'll motivate you to do your own change. You know, and lit a fire under my ass to do this log over the course of a year. Black Labor, White Wealth, Search for Power and Economic Justice, and PowerNomics, Dr. Anderson's National Plan to Empower Black America. You can find Dr. Anderson at PowerNomics.com and the Heritage Institute in Washington, D.C., although, you know, he's not readily at hand, and I've yet to hear any feedback from any comments or emails I've sent him. He's a busy guy, though, you know. He's in the upper echelon, but his message is legit, and it brought some sanity to my life. You'll see behind me the hashtag #US2 symbol. You'll find Black women there supporting one another, conversing, talking about their relevant topics and subjects. Check out Black Enough, BLAGGENUF, kind of a Black Facebook. Resource I don't talk about much is the Black Business School. Oh, for Black business that is like blacks doing business is different from whites doing business, and so they tailor their products there that much. They have a lot of subscriptions. I gotta admit, I'm not a subscription guy. I don't like that. It's just something I gotta have on my radar, and my mind is occupied with a lot of things. I'm navigating a white system that takes a lot of my energy and power, so I don't like to be encumbered. But plenty of people do. That's why I profess it. And they have a lot of trials and stuff. I tried their trials, products and stuff. Good guys over there. Dr. Boyce Watkins, mention my name. And finally, we have story time. It's due for story time again since we've slowed down and we're just starting to walk our way through this text, Uncle Tom's Cabin, a fictional illustration of slave life, master life, American economics, politics, institution of slavery in the mid-1800s by Harriet Beecher Stowe. All right, PowerNomics. Today, we're referencing this work, and page 49. This is another book. This is Dr. Anderson's National Plan to Empower Black America, and we're looking at today something that other outgroups, aggrieved groups in America don't readily understand. I get it kind of in my heart and in my head, but articulating it is an issue, and that is the issue of being exclusive, separating, extracting ourselves, black folks, from the system, kind of circle our wagons, gather our forces, bring some potency to our message of this life of liberty, land of the free, home of the brave. Well, see, right now we're a diluted people. You know, we fit in real well. You know, we're like chameleons. Tell you what, in a lot of instances, do get some nose work. I saw this guy. I'll tell you real quick. At Fresh Greens, I'll give a holler out Fresh Greens. You know, I don't get enough. But Fresh Greens, and the server guy back there looked like Christopher St. John today. Now, Christopher St. John, he's passed away, I think at the beginning of the year. But anyway, I said, dude, you look like Christopher St. John. And so, you know, he quick, this is information age, instant access. So he steps away from the counter immediately, Googles it, and he wasn't very excited about that. And I was kind of puzzled. I didn't push the issue. You know, the guy doesn't want to be associated with Christopher St. John. So I got home. I don't have a smartphone. I lag behind some of that stuff, as much as a geek as I am. But anyway, I was like, wow, this guy didn't respond the way someone would respond who looks like a famous soap star, you know, soap opera star. So I got home, got on my computer, say, hey, you know, what's going on? So I had to Google Christopher St. John. Well, Christopher St. John was darker, and his nose was more like mine. You know, the African nose is it's a different nose than the European nose. So, you know, he in his career sometime he started having work done and slimmed down and stuff, lightened up somehow. And so, you know, I'm wondering what images this man saw, the before or the after. He looks like the after Christopher St. John, but it's natural though. But you can see there's been some work done. Anyway, the nose is different. We're a different people, right? And right now we're diluted, been diluted. You know, nothing, anything. Listen, as long as somebody uh, is being a gatekeeper and doling out at their leisure and pleasure privileges, rights, and things like that, then they are the ones who are always going to have the power. You know, they're never going to allow me to come out from under, come inside. They're never going to allow me to dictate. They're never going to allow me to be in a position where I decide life-changing events for them, right? You know, we got this. I finally get my head on straight for some financial literacy, and I'm trying to do some things, stock market, money, and things like that. And now this old white man up in the White House wants that breakout in trade wars and get the market all messed up. You know, and I'm getting crushed right now. See, that's not the plan. That's not in my best interest. It's not how I would do it. You know, I'm reading a book called Creature from Jekyll Island, and money is it's clever bookkeeping. Is what it is. You know, this stuff I'm exchanging for goods and services is just such a farce that it's incredible. I wish enough people would get a hold of it and make some change. I wouldn't make a for-profit penal system. It's not in the best interest of the penal system for there to be a lack of crime. You know, for them to be viable, prosperous, enduring, they are depending on elements of crime to take place. You know, these prisons should be a last resort. You know, and you know, you got these guys making money, so they're not going to be all that enthusiastic about getting drugs out of the country, getting guns off the street, domestic violence abating. You know what I mean? You know, that's the kind of world that black people need to get out from under. You know, there's you see me the illustration. You know, the ceiling just keeps rising. You know, like they increase the minimum wage, give us civil rights, social integration, but they're always on top. You know, their life is the carrot we keep going after. You know, and never uh, getting it. Adult cartoon called South Park had they were doing not air guitar, but you know, Guitar Hero stuff, and one of the characters got messed up with a video game that was trying to inject. It wasn't heroin. They were trying to inject something, but you never quite got it. You know, you got the first one, and then the rest you're chasing it, and got the character all messed up. Black people need to come out of this. We need to realize. See, I'm in it, and I'm participating. I'm here. That's what I got to do. I'm looking. Maybe, but maybe we can plant some seeds through this project. Um, I'm a little older, so my my position in my personal dialectic is is kind of, it's like at an end. I'm not, oh, late teens, early 20s, gathering this information, uh, you know, getting my mind right, and coming as I'm very later, much later in life. So, you know, while I'm grasping terms and understanding what I'm doing, what I'm living in, I'm also understanding that um, had things been different as chronologically, I'd have a real shot at getting out from under, getting away from this uh, great guy, Robert Kiyosaki, real estate guy, rich dad, poor dad, materials and things like that. He's got a great game called Cash Flow. Check it out. It's easy to find. Cash Flow, and you can get there. It's free online, and you can get the board game that they cost a lot of money. But I think they're worth it. I'm just not in a position to take advantage of it because I don't want to. It's not something you want to do alone anyway. But it's process. He goes. You want to get out of the rat race and get into that nice, good, cool lifestyle. And it's hard, but you know, even the lifestyle, like after we get out of rat race, it's still a lifestyle um, projected and dominated by white influences, you know, white resources, you know, um, white processes, you know, the white is all over the world, you know, and the world kind of has us thinking, gives us the attitude like we are, like if it's not white, then it must be animalistic, too emotional, you know, uncontrollable, undesirable, right? It's everything that's this contrast always, and that's just not true in the world, in the human world. You know, it's not what it's just not what I would have happening and going on in the world. You know, uh, in some ways they say, well, maybe I'm idealistic. I don't know about that. I know that, you know, like yesterday I talked about the little Chinese girl, Nicole. Hey, you know what? Um, Where is that voice in the world? Why am I overwhelmed with crime and dysfunction? You know, it's whatever's against the white standard is um, abominable in the world. Those are the messages. So white people, black people need to kind of get it together, come out from under what it is. So Dr. Anderson, let's just go through this with the last few minutes we got. This is page 49 of PowerNomics. This book right here, Dr. Anderson's National Plan to Empower Black America. Moving towards voluntary separation, ethno-aggregation is kind of the umbrella term. Now he's fleshing out, he's really getting specific about some issues with ethno-aggregation. A quick review: ethno-aggregation is simply keeping everything within your own group. He's talking about ethno-aggregation, but maybe you're a community of musicians. You keep that in there, like a union, that type of thing. If America was ever embattled as a nation, you'd see a unity happening there, and I believe more doors opening for all people. But Americans would ethno-aggregate. They would close ranks, circle the wagons around Americans in the world. It's imperative we are diluted from such inclusion. When the language of diversity, multicultural, people of color came out, it diluted the message and the initiatives for people, Americans with black skin. That's the line that white America does not want to cross, does not want to. They want to keep that firmly in place. That white America doesn't want black folks, or I'll say too much of white America. Plenty of white America that's great and cool and is on board and helping. I spend time with a lot of great white people. But overall, the paradigm is for white America to stay superior. It's interesting. Like, we got these white supremacists. These guys don't get it. Like, they don't have to be supremacists. They're there, right? They're inside their own castle, running the world, and all that. There's not much. They don't have to be supremacists. They're supreme already. Back to South Park. I'm sorry, I have these South Park illustrations today, but one character, they went to a ski resort. They're Colorado kids, right? So they went skiing, and all of a sudden they are enveloped in this kind of competition drama for the blonde girl. A lot of stereotypes, and one skier is the ace, and he's alpha male, gets the sexual stuff because he can ski his ass off. And the other character, one of the kids, are like, I don't want to compete. I'm cool. You win. But the guy is like still going on a triple black diamond and taunting the little kid and gets the girl at the end. That's white supremacy. It's nonsense because they're already supreme. Any disgruntled white person is improperly. That individual is not oriented in the system properly, but they already have it. It's like there are evangelical people. heaven bound and all that, and supposedly, and that's kind of some of my philosophy, theology as well, and having golden gates, streets of gold, everlasting life, and all that. I'm still complaining that black folks aren't getting their due. Um, when from an eternal perspective, it's laughable. I don't know. We can go a long ways now. But we are diluted. You know, we don't have to be out on the streets. We just have to extract ourselves. You know, find each other, and so we can bring some potency back to our message. Be inclusive and be exclusive. And to be that would then you would have a uh, community that that's ready to participate in diversity. See, we're not defined yet. Everybody else is defined: LGBT, Hispanics, other languages and groups, um, handicapped, disabled. They're defined. They're apparent. They have to come out. They can define themselves. You know, black people as this as an afterthought and being defined. You know, we need to extract, separate, become potent, and then present. Then we can be one amongst all that. But we're diluted because they're black handicaps and they're black LGBTQ. There's a black agreed group, and all these people, uh, you know, are stratified and spread out in the community, and we have no specific identity. You know, and there's conditioning from slavery and all that we can talk about. We can talk about black leaders from the 60s, Martin Luther King Jr., great work, marching, put a lot of skin in the game, obviously, ultimate sacrifice, uh, yet he and other leaders, other black leaders, allowed the white establishment to deflect. And I would go back in history to the point where um, the white establishment began diluting the message and say, look, this is where we got to come back to, and uh, begin advancing on that. Whatever issues shook them to finally start acquiescing to the demands and needs of black people is where we need to get to, right? They started acquiescing in that they developed a new language, a new terminology to say that they're include um, that says they're helping black folks. You notice that it doesn't say specifically black folks when we talk about terms of civil rights, social integration, things like that. There's a lot of bait and switch things happened over a period of time, uh, but they didn't outright come out and make life better for black folks explicitly. No, we won't. We're not going to discriminate on the basis of color. Well, there's a lot of colors out there, you know. So, you know, black already being the unacceptable color, the out color, that leaves everybody else. There's a lot of everybody else's colors out there. This young Chinese woman, Nicole, she was a darker Chinese, very dark Chinese young lady. You know, are you talking about the Chinese when we're doing you got black folks, um, black as night, marching, getting dogs sick on the water hoses, all this stuff, but the language comes out, people of color. We won't discriminate on the basis of color. how they don't define it, and then the message is diluted, and black folks again still don't get what they want. I want to call that a part one. Actually, I want to get into the specifics of what Dr. Anderson's argument entails. But go home tonight. Oh, kind of woodshed this tomorrow is our first of the month, so we want to do our little first piece there. But we're going to come back. We're going to pick this up after this argument after tomorrow and see if we jog a bit, because if you get a hold of this message like I have, you want to get pushback and blowback. You're going to want to explain why it is that black folks, if they're on board with Dr. Anderson's message and understanding what I'm talking about here, you're going to find your white friends and people of other races and colors, languages, are going to test you on how you can say you want to be exclusive, close your own ranks, and work for your own people, your own group specifically. And some of these arguments are important. We visit them sometime. We visited this in the past, and we'll continue to visit it throughout the rest of the year. I'm Thomas Nyback. I'm way over here, but that's day 151 out of the way. 365 days towards racial change. I'll see you tomorrow for the first of the month.